So early on in my teaching career, I was teaching at an institution that before every academic year, we would hold a professional development day. And at one of these professional development days, I attended a master teacher panel. And at this master teacher panel, there was a biology teacher who was discussing strategies for retaining students through traditionally challenging courses. And this teacher was telling a story about how especially his potential nursing students would get especially anxious during his anatomy and physiology midterm because they had to get a good grade on this test, because they had to get a good grade in this class, because they had to keep their GPAs up, because they had to get into a good nursing school so they can get a job as a nurse. And I thought, okay, hang on one damn second. These are potential nurses. Did they not stop to think, maybe I should know anatomy and physiology because it might make me a better nurse? Now, I was a college student for 11 years, and since then I've been a college professor at several institutions at various levels in the collegiate spectrum. And in that time in college, I've grown quite concerned about what I think our students believe college is for and how to measure our success there. And specifically, I found that our students are obsessed with grades. And I gotta tell you, if we're trying to measure and define success in college, grades ain't it. The amount that students value their grades is way out of proportion with grade significance in our lives. So today I want to talk about what grades are. Grades have a function in college, but we probably think about them a little too much. Matter of fact, grades should probably be the last thing we think about while we're in school, and what we can all do to reduce this cultural value of grades. So first of all, what are grades, right? So grades, they function to quantify the human effort of our students, right? So students come to class and they learn and they study and then they do some coursework, and that coursework earns them points. The points turn into percentages turn into grades, and grades turn into GPAs, right? Now, this is an important function when you think of academia in the largest possible sense, right? When you've got millions of students telling thousands of institutions in dozens of countries about who should go to what schools, right? Now, if you are in the admissions office at some of these institutions, you're looking at massive amounts of data, right? That's a lot of people doing a lot of work. So you have to make that data manageable. So, GPAs, take everybody's GPAs, right? You sort them on a chart or graph, put them in order, draw a line somewhere. These are applicants, right? But the problem, what we have to remember is that this is occurring within a specific cultural context, right? And that context is capitalism. So capitalism is telling me that my goal is to get a job, a good paying job. And to get a good paying job, I need to go to a good college. To go to a good college, I need good grades. To get good grades, I need points. Points are my path to success. Every part of that narrative is absolutely problematic, but you can see how it's easy to buy into, right? You could see how I could believe into that narrative. But the problem becomes when our students believe that the points are their purpose, when points become the singular and primary goal of going to school. I'm reminded of a metaphor. I'm a distance runner by hobby. And as a distance runner, I have all kinds of apps and devices that track my time and my distance and my heart rate and my elevation and my steps per minute, right? All kinds of statistics, right? So when I go out on a run, I'll go out for 4 or 5 miles or so, and then I'll make it back home, and I'll go to turn off my app, and I realize I never started my app. And so now I don't have the data, and then I'll think so that run didn't count. That run didn't count? Of course that run counts, right? Of course it counts because I have to remember what I'm running for. But for a brief moment, that thought creeps into my mind, that run didn't count. And our students are living in this brief moment, right? If it didn't earn me points, then what was the point? Now, this is especially important because us as educators, we see the long-term goals, right? Every assignment, every class meeting is just a drop of water in the stream that is flowing into this river of academic programs and degree programs, and this river is flowing into this ocean of just transformative life experiences, and our students are just building dams left and right. What's my grade? I got a B? Cool. What's next? And we're losing sight of our purpose. Now, this is really a problem because, honestly, grades should be the last thing that we think about while we're in school. And I got 4 reasons why this hyper-focusing on grades is just absolutely preposterous, all right? Grades are not at your job. Nobody cares about them. It doesn't matter what you do. They're going to be there. and grades are literally meaningless. Okay, I'm going to walk you through all those. All right, just come with me. Come with me. Here we go. So first, if we're looking at college as a pathway to open up job opportunities, that's sound, right? I mean, like a lot of professions, they look for at least a bachelor's degree for their potential employees because, bachelor's degrees are good things, right? That totally makes sense. But if you are going to college to open up job opportunities, do you know what is the one thing that is in college that is guaranteed to not be at your profession? Grades, right? Like, you are likely going to get performance reviews, right? And some kind of supervising manager is going to tell you your strengths and weaknesses and areas to improve. And some of this feedback is going to involve, critical thinking, problem solving, creative writing, leadership roles, communicating with your peers, right? Things that you would learn and practice in college. But this is not the same as earning a grade, right? Getting grades, like chasing points, is not the same as getting feedback and evaluation. If we're looking at college as a way to open up job opportunities, well, then maybe we should approach college as a way to try and be better and get better and stop chasing points. Number 2, nobody cares about grades, not even you. Now, I know this sounds bonkers, but come with me. All right, I'm talking to all the college students who are listening right now. If any of you are in your second or third year of college, I would challenge you to report back with a high degree of certainty exactly what classes you took and exactly what grades you got in your first term in college. Because I'm confident that you cannot do it, right? But I bet at the time, the difference between that B+ and that A-, it meant everything to you. You fast forward 1 year, you don't even remember what classes you took, let alone what grades you got, all right? But, okay, let's stretch that out even a little bit further, right? A 2014 Pew Research study surveyed thousands of Americans and asked them to report on their overall job satisfaction, their income satisfaction, and their family satisfaction, and compare those things to what college they went to, whether they went to a private institution or a public institution. And they found no statistical significance to predict what kind of college you went to predict your overall satisfaction in your life, which means for those of us here in the Bay Area, if you're looking to transfer and go into college right now, it does not matter. 15 years from now, it will not matter if you go to Stanford with a 4.5 GPA or San Jose State with a 3.5 GPA. 15 years down the line, when you're looking at how happy you are in your life, that will not matter. Now, whenever I say this whole nobody cares about your grades, not even you, I get a little bit of pushback, right? And people are like, well, Nick, what would you say to the student who has to get a 4.0 because they have to go to UCLA? And I go, okay, that's fair, right? If you were like me, and at 5 years old, you went to the elite university near your town, and you walked onto this campus, and you saw that marching band, and you went to that football game, and you dressed up in those colors, and you were just dreaming of the day that you would go to this school and study in that library and learn from these people, and you would play in that band, and you would march in that stadium, and then high school came around, and you couldn't because grades. I'm here to tell you, and the Pew Research study bears this out, that you will probably be fine with literally the next college over. But also, one thing that I want to clarify here, though, is that if your goal really is to go to UCLA or, fill in the blank with whatever elite university you want, if your goal really is to go there, go, do that, right? Go live your dreams. That's great. Oh, go do that. That's awesome. If grades are going to be a thing, then get the good ones, right? That's fine. But I think the question we need to ask ourselves, though, is at what cost, right? What is the opportunity cost of earning that 4.0? What did it take? Did you get there with that laser-focused tunnel vision? And if so, what did you miss along the way? And was it worth it? And you really need to ask yourself that question because chances are it's not worth it. And it's probably not worth it because number 3, grades have their function in academia as an institution, right? So they're not going anywhere, at least not for now. But if somebody wants to have a conversation about abolishing grades, I'm here for it. But at least for now, grades are a thing, right? But if grades aren't going anywhere, why are we spending so much time worrying about them? Let's just play this out really quick. Let's say you're a student and you're worried about your grades. So, you're constantly just like looking at your grade, checking your grade. You're going onto your learning management system, right? You're going on campus, like, what's my grade, what's my grade, what's my grade? You're checking the numbers, doing the math, and you're emailing your professor, like, Professor Chivers, what's my grade, what's my grade, what do I get, 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 what do I get? At the end of the term, you get whatever grade you earned. Let's say you never check your grades, not once. You show up to class, you do the work, you do your thing, you never check your grades. At the end of the term, you get whatever grades you earned. So what are you doing with your emotional energy, right? Are you going to professors' office hours? Are you joining study groups? Are you joining clubs? Are you reading the news? Are you binge watching the Marvel Cinematic Universe? Like, literally anything would probably be a more productive use of your time than just constantly checking your grades, right? But then on a more serious note, though, maybe we should spend a little more energy on our self-care. Psychology Today in 2015 reported on a study that said that 62% of college students suffer from perpetual toxic anxiety, and suicide is the second leading cause of death amongst college students, right? College students are already under tremendous amounts of stress and pressure. They're facing family stress, they're facing economic stress. Why pile on with grades? This stress is real. This stress is real for all students across all identity categories, and I'll tell you, it breaks my heart when I see students live and die with every grade. When it's that elite university or nothing, or I'm a failure, it breaks my heart to see students measure their own self-worth with their GPAs, and it's got to stop because grades are literally meaningless. Number 4, grades are meaningless. You tell me you got a 3.5 GPA last semester, and what did you actually tell me? Nothing. What classes did you take? What books did you read? What papers did you write? What questions did you ask? What art did you partake in? What activism did you witness? What beliefs did you change? What did you do? You've told me nothing. Not to mention, what kind of obstacles and hurdles did you have to go along the way to get there? What kind of institutional and systemic oppressions? What kind of family trauma? What kind of health issues? Your GPA tells me nothing. Education is supposed to be a transformative experience. You're supposed to be different on the other side. And it's that transformation that really matters. And your GPA just cannot possibly capture that information. It can't do it. Your grades are literally meaningless. So, from the way I see it, we are way out of whack with the way we think about grades because they're not at your jobs. Nobody cares, not even you. They're going to be there no matter what, and they're doing more harm than good, and finally, they're literally meaningless. So what do we do about it, right? We can all work together to change the cultural value that we put into grades. My discipline, communication studies, it teaches us, and I truly believe that the world is not the way that it is. The world is the way that we have created it, right? Especially when it comes to things of cultural value. Things aren't just inherently valuable. We give them that value by the way that we talk about it and the way we speak into it. So we have created the value that grades have. We can change that together. So first, for folks that are like adjacent to learners, we're talking like counselors, advisors, administrators, parents and guardians, mentors, that kind of thing. Look, stay for the stories, right? GPAs and grades are shortcuts. If you're asking somebody how you doing in school, right? Don't settle for a numerical answer. Stick around for like, how you doing in class? What are you learning? How do you feel about your school? What do you like about the culture of your campus? Stay for the stories. Don't settle for that shortcut GPA answer. For students, I'm talking to you. For you, just shut up about your damn points, all right? Philosophically, please remember that you are here with a greater purpose. You're here for the long term. Invest in yourself as much as you can. And I know this is super subjective, but as much as you can. Get extracurricular, right? Join clubs. Hang out in the quad. Meet some people, right? Stay on campus and just be present in that moment, right? Remember why you are here. And from a practical standpoint, when it comes to talking to your instructors, again, shut up about your damn points, all right? Because, think about it. The question, as a college professor, the question about what is my grade is actually meaningless and truly just really annoying. Because here's the thing. How do you get a better grade in class? Well, you do better work, right? So skip the bullshit question about points and let's talk about the work, right? Because here's the thing. I did not get a master's degree in communication studies and spend hundreds of hours poring over text and prepping class materials to make sure that you earned 465 out of 500 points. I do not care about your grade. But I care passionately that you understand the nature of power and privilege and how our relative positions of positionality affects the way in which we perceive each other. And that in turn affects the way in which we speak and listen to each other, which in turn will affect the way in which we perceive ourselves. If you can understand that, then you'll probably get a good grade, but also much, much, much more, right? So students, focus on your work, focus on your knowledge, focus on your skills. Now, for educators, right, do the work to separate the points from the feedback, okay? You have to keep grades because, grades are a thing, but you don't have to immediately show your students the grades. Prepare your feedback to be an ongoing conversation. If you pull the points away, it creates a conversation. I have a mantra that every evaluation is an invitation. If I give you feedback, come back and talk to me because I want you to do better next time, right? Allow people to do rewrites and retries to do better next time. Take quizzes multiple times to do better next time. Always with an eye going forward. And one other thing, stop offering explicit extra credit, all right? Students who are in the room right now, earning extra credit, I'm talking to you. I hope while you're here earning your extra credit, I hope you accidentally stumbled into a mind-expanding kind of opportunity here. But in the future, what I'd like to see is I'd like to see the mind expansion be the purpose of being here, not the points, right? The points will come later. Focus on that expanding your mind. Look, we all have an opportunity to work together to change this cultural value that we put on grades. I tell my students every term, if all you want are grades, then all you will get are grades. But you have an opportunity and you have an obligation to do your best to be better than that, to be better than yourself, to be better than your grades. How do we redefine success in college? I'm not sure, but I am sure that grades ain't it. All right? We need something more holistic. We need something more intrinsic. We need something more personal. We need something more human. Success in college has never been about grades, and it's time we started acting like it.